Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, y'all can hear me? Sorry. Let me share this out. StreamYard's man, I gotta find something else other than StreamYard. This is just a complete disaster, but I'm so freaking busy during the day. It's frustrating. This is going to be a quick one. I got 3 stories. So I have a correction on the Nothing Phone 3 that we spoke about yesterday. And then a bunch of Samsung leaks. So we got the S25 FE, Z Flip 7, Z Fold 7, information, leaks, all that good stuff. So let me just share this out real quick, like maybe, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Now, I got everybody's emails from yesterday, the case giveaway, and I'll get those out. Give me about a day or two, and I'll reply back. I'll verify your addresses if you emailed me, if you wanted a free case. Realistically, I'll probably get them out this weekend. So give me about a day or two. I'll reply to the emails. I'll get the cases out this weekend. I'll verify your address and get the cases out. I've just been swamped. I actually am in the process of developing a badass application that you will be able to download on your Android and iPhone, iOS device. So it's really freaking cool. So I'm doing one in the tech world and one outside the tech world. So I'll keep y'all updated with that, but it just keeps me swamped and busy. So I gotta, anyways, long story. We're not going to get into it, but I just shared this out. So let me get into the stuff that I was talking about yesterday, right? So yesterday we got into the Nothing Phone 3. Anyways, long story. We're not going to get into it. Yesterday we got into the Nothing Phone 3, right? And there was not necessarily some misinformation. Well, no, that wasn't misinformation. I just got some of the information incorrect. So let me share the screen. Let me show what I'm talking about. We found out why they selected the 8S Gen 4. So, and I saw the tweet yesterday. So there's a co-owner of Nothing. So Carl Pei is the majority owner, right? He's kind of the front man. But there's a number of smaller minority owners. Now, some don't work at Nothing. Some were just angel investors or investors, minority investors. But some are minority investors that do work at Nothing, right? So I followed the Nothing team and the people at Nothing. And this dude, and I think he deleted the tweet, or I literally spent the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes before I went live looking for this tweet. I can't find it. I don't know where it went. I think he deleted it. I don't know if he was sharing too much info or if somebody told him to delete it. I couldn't find it for the life of me. But he was saying it was down to 2 processors for the Nothing Phone 3. So Nothing Phone 3, Nothing's next flagship, coming out July 1st. We found out that they're going with the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, right? So, and it was actually not down to the 8 Elite and the 8S Gen 4. Actually, the 2 processors that it came down to was the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, last year's flagship, and the 8S Gen 4. And we now know why they chose the 8S Gen 4 over last year's flagship Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. That's because you can get the same performance from the 8S Gen 4 that they're going to use, same performance as the last year's flagship 8 Gen 3, except the 8S Gen 4 is more fine-tuned for AI, which you know is going to be heavy on this phone, but that's not the key factor from what I understand. The reason why they chose the 8S Gen 4 over the 8 Gen 3, even though they have comparable performance, is that the 8S Gen 4 allows Nothing to support the device software for a longer period of time. So the way he put it, and it didn't really make sense. And look, these companies have certain deals with these manufacturers, because he was stating with the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, it allowed them for a 4+4 update schedule, meaning the 8 Gen 3 was going to allow them to do 4 software updates, 4 years of security patches. And then, but they chose the 8S Gen 4 because now they're going to do 5 years of software updates. And he said 7 years of security patches. Now, that's why I kind of think the tweet was deleted, because that's different information than what we got. We got 5 years of software updates, 6 years of security patches. He said in his tweet, 5 years of software updates, 7 years of security patches. So you get comparable performance, but the reason why they chose the 8S Gen 4 is it allows them to support the device for a longer period of time, meaning update schedule, update support, which still doesn't make sense, because I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? How is that? How does the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 only allow nothing to update it for 4 years of software updates and 4 years of security patches? Because in the S24 Ultra, right, Samsung has the 8 Gen 3 in the S24 series, but they update their devices for 6 years. Was it 6 or 7? So it's like, that didn't make sense. So I was like, well, they must have some, like, and look, that's probably in their negotiations, right? Like, as far as, okay, we're going to source you, as far as the deal that they make, they'll probably allow because Qualcomm, the longer they support a CPU, the longer they have to put resources towards that CPU for the life of the support. So again, the more money you're going to spend with Qualcomm, meaning the bigger order you have, the more they're willing to support that CPU for your company. Because remember, Samsung and Qualcomm have to work hand in hand to get these patches out. Well, it's probably why they were only going to offer Qualcomm nothing, 4 years of software updates and 4 years of security patches. I hope I'm not confusing people. Maybe I'm getting a little too into the weeds. I apologize if that's true or if that's so. But anyways, the decision came down to the Snapdragon 3 versus the 8S Gen 4, not the Snapdragon 8 Elite versus the 8S Gen 4, which we mentioned yesterday. Now, check this out. So the performance is basically the same, and you get longer software support for the 8S Gen 4. So that's why nothing went with the 8S Gen 4. Check this out. And then we'll move to Samsung. So here's the 8S Gen 4 on the left, 8 Gen 3. And we'll just briefly go over this. I'm going to show you they are basically the same. And it does allow nothing to offer a brand new chip, because this 8S Gen 4 was just released a few months ago. And if they did choose to go the 8 Gen 3, wouldn't be the biggest deal. But again, it would, the last two flagship Phone 1 and Phone 2 both used a year or year and a half old CPU. So that kind of would be continuing the trend of nothing. If they did go with the 8 Gen 3 CPU, that's been out for a year and a half. So it's kind of like, well, trying to save money, this and that. It looks better if you put a brand new CPU in there. Let's be honest, right? I mean, they are raising the price $800, so it does look better for the consumer, saying, hey, we're putting a brand spanking new flagship. It is a flagship CPU. It's just geared towards more AI CPU in there. So check this out. CPU performance. So the 8S Gen 3 is on the, 8S Gen 4 is on the top, 8 Gen 3 on the bottom. As you can tell, 90 to 91. Gaming performance, 94 to 94. Battery life, 91 to 91. Nano review score, 92 to 92. Pretty freaking close. Check this out. Antutu benchmark scores, 2.08 million for the 8S Gen 4 and 2.05 million for the 8 Gen 3. And then going down to Geekbench 6. Check out these single core scores and multi-core scores on the right. Basically the same. So I see why they went with the 8S Gen 4. It allows for longer software support, and you get about the same performance as the 8 Gen 3. And you get to say, hey, we put a brand new flagship CPU in there. So it is what it is. I just wanted to correct, or not necessarily correct, because I didn't have this information yesterday, but fine-tune the information we're putting out there just to be legit. Now, let's jump into the Samsung. Oh, and here's the. Check this out. Let's go back to nothing real quick. But look at this. So we'll move on to Samsung. I just wanted to show you this for those of you that did not see this. Apparently, he says, apparently, and this is the guy I was talking about, minority owner. He actually works at Nothing. We found out that the dot matrix that they're going to put on the back of the phone, not necessarily going to be the entire back of the phone. Looks like it's just going to be like a circle that's going to be put somewhere on the back of the phone. We don't know where. It looks like on the top right, because earlier they tweeted this out. Not that. We got that yesterday, but where's that one we got today? Come on. You know what? Let me go to Nothing. So check this out. Is this it? That's not it. This got to be it. Right here. Look at this right here. So they tweeted this out. It's on the top right of the phone. So I'm assuming, see, if you follow Nothing, they every so often they'll push out hints, they'll push out, and you can kind of piece stuff together as you get closer to launch date. But it looks like this is going to be, they have this transparent backs. It looks like there's going to be a 1-inch diameter dot matrix on the back that'll allow for custom graphics. So I thought it was going to be the entire back. Looks like it's just going to be I'm assuming top right. Anyways, it kind of looks like the front of the phone, no? Now they may just be hiding the other stuff on the back, but see, this every detail tuned. So I believe that's the dot matrix. I believe, right? Because look at those two. If it's on the top right, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We're only a week and a half away, so I plan on getting this. I know that. So it would be cool. I'm pretty sure these will be customizable. You'll be able to notify yourself. It should be cool. I believe this will be customizable. Can't wait to see what it looks like. And they tweet out this stuff, little hints here and there about their devices. They're marketed, their media relations team pretty good. I like what they're doing over there. So okay, let's get into Samsung. So we have leaks of the S25 FE. We have leaks of the Z Fold 7 and Z Flip 7. Now, you're going to see some changes on these devices because moving to the Fold 7, it's going to be so thin. In the previous years, I think the last 3 or 4 years, they've had an under-display selfie camera. When you open it up, at the 7 or the Fold series, when you open it up, on the inside, there was a under-display camera sensor in there. This year, it's going to be so thin, they can't even put an under-display sensor in there. They're going to actually you are going to have a hole punch in the inside of the display and on the outside. It's going to be that thin. Now, somebody's going to steal the show from Samsung. So Oppo coming in. We did get a release date for the Samsung Folds. I think it's July 9th, I believe, is when they're going to be announced. And leading up the past month or two, we've heard this ultra thin device, when it's opened on the Fold 7, it's going to be like 4 millimeter or 4.5 millimeters thick, something insane. And they would tout it as the thinnest foldable ever made. And I'm sure they're going to have to reword their announcement now, or their keynote, because Oppo, out of nowhere, is swooping in, and before Samsung is going to have their keynote event launching this Z Fold 7, where it's going to be the thinnest foldable ever, Oppo out of nowhere just released a foldable that's even thinner than the Fold 7. I believe the Fold 7, when it's open, is going to be like 0.6 millimeters when it's folded open. Oppo just launched a device right now. It's like 4.2 millimeters thick. Out of nowhere. I saw this and I was like, what the hell is this? I'm sure Samsung is pissed. Because, there's like they would say over, just like the stupid AI term, they say, how many times are they going to say AI at this keynote? 108 times? Yeah, I'll take the over on that. Well, guess what? Samsung was probably going to say thinnest foldable ever 102 times, and I would take the over on that. Well, looks like they're going to have to rewrite their keynote because that's not going to be true at the time of the, where is it? Let me get this. Okay, the Oppo Find N5. Let's see. The Fold 7 in particular is rumored to be about 4.5 millimeters thin or thick when unfolded, which would be only slightly thicker than the Oppo N5. But wait a second. Oppo just came out with an even thicker device. I mean, an even thinner device. Give me a second. Where did... See... Jesus Christ. Shame on me. I see these things, I read it, and I get distracted and move on. I need to save these things because now I'm going to have to waste time finding... You know what I could do? Let's do this. Oppo. Damn it, what's the name? Hang on one second. Hang on, I got it. But I tell you, I got it. Check this out. It's the... It's the Honor. It's not Oppo, it's Honor. Honor's coming out. Magic V5. Check this out. How thin is this going to be? This is going to be... It's going to release on July 2nd in China. Look how thin this is. 4.2 millimeters thick. So this beats the Oppo Find N5 by 0.01 millimeters thickness. So this is going to be the thinnest foldable ever. I mean, wow. So Samsung kind of got screwed there, but it is what it is. So, you know, they play these back and forth games all the time. They try to steal thunder and steal attention, which it worked because now I know what, if I want the absolute thinnest foldable ever, there you go. The Honor Magic V5. But let's get back to the Fold 7. So with the Fold 7, we got new leaks. Check this out. Here is the Fold 7. Now, this is going to have an all-new aspect ratio. Going to be very, very thin. I mean, look. On paper, obviously there's a difference, but when you're holding it in hand and it's unfolded, this thing's going to be razor thin. So just because you don't have the absolute thinnest foldable ever when it's released, I mean, it's pretty freaking close, right? We're talking about 100th or a 10th of a millimeter here. Check this out. So here's the hole punch on the inside, which again is new. Well, actually, I like the hole punch. Look, I'm sure some like it. I'm sure some don't. I like it because it's actually more clearer, right? Like when it's under the display, that's why under display selfie cameras and or sensors haven't really taken off the mainstream. That's why you don't see it in the Pixels. That's why you don't see it in the Nothing phones. That's why you don't see it in the OnePluses. Because the clarity is, it's like 97% clear compared to a regular selfie camera. But when you're talking about photo quality, you can slightly tell. It's pretty clear. But if you're holding a selfie picture from a Pixel to a that has a hole punch to the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 where it's under the display, you can tell the Pixel is way more clear. So this is a good thing if you care about quality, if you care about clear photos, and you record a lot from that sensor. This is a good thing, right? It doesn't bother me. And it probably will bother some people, but it is what it is. So this is what the device looks like when it's closed. When it's closed, the Fold 7 will be roughly the same thickness as a Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. That's how thin it's going to be when it's closed. So it'll be like having a S24 Ultra. I say 24 Ultra because it's kind of boxy like the S24 Ultra. The S25 Ultra, a little more rounded corners, but this will be look and feel more like an S24 Ultra. Basically same thickness when closed. It's like an S24 Ultra, just split in half, where you can open it up into a tablet, and that's where I thought it was going to have to go to even get people like myself to be interested in buying it, because previous foldables are just too weird. The aspect ratio, the outer display is too weird, because I'm not going to use it open all the time, right? Majority of the time, honestly, I would use it closed. Good thing they're changing the aspect ratio, and that's not the only one they're changing the aspect ratio on. Check this out. Is that the last one here? Let's see. Here we get a different color as well. Now, that's the Fold 7, and we know it's going to have the 8S, not 8S. It's going to have the Snapdragon 8 Elite in it. Now, I hope they put the 7-core. I hope they put the 7-core CPU in there, because just like the Edge, S25 Edge, no heating problems whatsoever. S25 Ultra, heating problems. So got my fingers crossed they're putting the 7-core 8 Elite in there, and I think they will, just because of how thin it is, right? I think they will. No confirmation on that, but I will keep y'all posted. Now check this out. The Flip 7 is another device that's getting an aspect ratio change. The Flip 7 is now, check this out. So here's the thickness between, check how thin they got this device. This is on the right. This is last year's Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 on the right. Look at what Samsung did. Look at this innovation. This is the Z Fold 7 on the left. It's almost twice as the Fold 6 is almost twice as thick as the Fold 7. So this year's Fold 7, look how much thickness they shaved off. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing how thin they got this thing. It's going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's going to feel like a regular phone when you have it folded closed. It's going to look like an look and feel like an S24 Ultra in your hand. It just opens up to a tablet. That was key for mainstream adoption, because the way they were going with the Fold 6 and the Fold 5, it was just too weird. The screen was just too tall and clunky. So this year, I think, is the year. That was my main thing for holding me back getting one. Now, look at this Flip 7. Same thing with the Flip 7. Now, we did not know that they were going to make it this thin. So the Flip 7 in the past had a 21:7 aspect ratio. So the Flip 7 was very skinny, tall. If you've ever had a Flip, you can tell you have a Flip in your hand because it's so skinny and tall, meaning like it's not that wide. It's like skinny and tall. This year, they're changing the aspect ratio from a 21:7 aspect ratio, I believe, to a 19.5:7 aspect ratio, because it's going to look and feel like a regular S25 Plus, where it's wider. It just folds in half. Now, I knew that they were changing the aspect ratio to make it look and feel like a regular phone when it's open. However, look how much thinner this is going to be. So the previous Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6 is on the right. The new Flip 7 is on the left. Look how much thinner it is. So Samsung is making their phones a lot slimmer, a lot more comfortable in your hand. And I think this is key. And again, the Flip 7 is not coming with the Snapdragon CPU. The Flip 7 series, and this is worldwide. So if you buy a Flip 7 in the United States, you're going to get it with the Samsung Exynos 2500. Now this is Samsung's latest and greatest CPU, right? This is on a 3 nanometer node. This Exynos 2500 competes directly with the 8 Elite. Now, it doesn't come close in as far as performance. It is a strong performer, just not as strong as the 8 Elite, the Snapdragon. But Samsung, trust and believe, Samsung would love to produce every Samsung phone, even the S25 series or their Galaxy series moving forward. Every Samsung phone, Samsung would love to put Exynos CPUs in every phone, just like Apple's doing, just like Google's doing. But they can't get their foundry right. They can't get their CPU manufacturing on par. They just can't produce it as many. Their yield rate is not that high. So they have just a high enough yield rate to where they can put it on all of the Flip 6s, because they know they can only produce, if Samsung thinks they're only going to sell about 1 million Flip 7s worldwide, or 2 million Flip, that means that they can basically feel good about manufacturing 1 to 2 million CPUs. They absolutely cannot manufacture 5 to 10 million CPUs. It's just not physically possible. So that's why they're kind of found a line to put it on. And depending on how you and I like the Flip 7, I'll probably get one. I'm interested to see how it does, right? Does it get hot? Does it perform well? Does the modem in there, connectivity? I want to see how well the battery life is. We all know Samsung Exynos CPUs don't have the best history, right? I mean, I've had up and down history. I've had some in the past that have been great, and then I've had some in the past that suck. I'm sure, like you have as well. So it'll be interesting to see how well this one does. Again, if all Flip 7s in the US or not is getting this Exynos 2500. So should be interesting. Now, let's move on to the S25 FE, right? FE, where we go? Where do we go here? Let's see. I had it. Oh, by the way, has anyone tried, if you're on the beta program, has anybody tried the Pixel 9 desktop mode? I've tried it with the 2 Pixel 9s that we have in-house that are both on the beta program. We hooked them up to external monitors, and it's not even operational for us. So I've heard online some people say it works great, and ours, we can't get it to work. So I don't know what's going on. It is on the beta program, so it is what it is. But I'll try with the very next update. I was going to make a video about that, but why do it when it doesn't work? But let's get back to the S25 FE. Check this out. So it looks to be an S25 Plus. Now let's see what CPU this got. So a new leak may give us our first look at the S25 FE. This device is said to feature a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display with 120 Hz refresh rate. Samsung may have upgraded the front camera to a 12 megapixel. The S24 FE has a 10 megapixel. Let's see here. We got a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate, peak brightness 2600 nits. Up front camera sensor upgraded from 10 to 12 megapixel. Let's see. The report mentions that we can expect the dimensions to be 161 by 76 by 7 millimeters thick. So it's about the same size as the S25 Plus. Now it says while there are no details of the price, it could, let's see, it looks like it might go up $50 from the previous year. The S24 launched at $650. So this might potentially be a $700 FE. Well, then it's not really an FE, is it? Because the base S25 starts at $700, or was it $799? So yeah, Now, it's unclear. It appears what chipset this is going to have. It's either going to have last year's flag Samsung Exynos 2400 or the MediaTek Dimensity 9400. For everybody's sake, let's hope they choose the MediaTek Dimensity 9400. It has been a phenomenal CPU, outstanding performance, good battery life. I haven't even found one speck of heating issues. And I don't mean to always bring that up. I've been scarred by heating issues with my Galaxy devices and just in the last few months. So, like, it's in such a disappointment. I don't even use the S25 Ultra anymore. I just don't. And it's a shame because I can't use it. It gets hot on me every time. 3 of them. So, and the Edge is perfectly fine. Anyways, if they use the Dimensity 9400, that's a phenomenal choice. If they use Exynos 2400, look, I've seen some reviews online that that's a perfectly capable CPU. And again, I'm sure Samsung would love to put every Samsung phone with a Exynos CPU. So don't be surprised if it does come with the 2400. They're definitely not going to be putting the Snapdragon in here. It will be MediaTek or it will be Exynos. It's believed that Samsung could launch GS25 FE in late Q3 or early Q4 of this year. We'll be running One UI 8 out the box. Now, here's a little tidbit. I traditionally have not been a FE buyer and or user. I've used a couple in the past, but that was before they bumped up the RAM to 12 gigs of RAM. Last time I used one, they had 8 gigs of RAM, and it was stuttery, it was choppy. It could not hold my daily usage on it. But it seemingly they fixed that, and you should be fine now. But here's the dilemma that users run into. If last year's was $650 and they're expected to go up this year to $50, so you're looking at a $700 device, and it's roughly the same look, same size, same feel as the S25 Plus, which is $1,000 at launch. But here's the deal. By the time this S25 FE comes out, the S25 Plus is going to be roughly 6 months old. And I've seen literally this morning was looking online at S25 Plus devices. You can get an S25 Plus for $500, a good used mint condition S25 Plus for $500. So why would you go out and get a brand new S25 FE for $700 if you can get a nice used S25 Plus for $200 less than that? I get it. Some people just want to buy brand new, but if you're looking for good deals, this phone does not make any sense. Honestly, I'd rather get last year's S24 Plus than the S25 FE. To be completely honest with you, go grab an S24 Plus. It looks the same. It's basically the same phone, just cheaper. Well, actually, no, it's a better phone. I take that back. It has better camera sensors. Had the memory, the UFS storage memory is better. Always get the flagship. So again, I don't really know why these FEs are out. They do seem to be usable now, but just get the flagship or last year's flagship over this. Doesn't make any sense. I think what Samsung is going to do, we heard rumors they're going to get rid of the Plus model and introduce the Edge model. Kind of like what Apple's going to do get away with their Plus model and introduce the Air model. So Samsung can keep this FE around because if there's no Plus model next year, if there's no S26 Plus, well, some people don't want the super thin phone, right? Some people want a phone that size with a bigger battery like the Plus model. Well, Samsung might keep FE and say, well, here you go. Here's your FE. So that'll take the place of the Plus. Who knows? We'll see. But stick around and we will definitely have all that information for you and more in the future. But I appreciate the time. I'm going to get out of here. And again, if you did email me for those cases, I'm going to get to them. I've just been super busy again, doing these apps. Got a new website I'm building, so very busy. But I will get your emails and probably ship them out over the weekend. So just give me a day or two, but I'll get to you. Appreciate the time as always. We'll do a case giveaway maybe or a giveaway once a week. But let me get out of here. I'm just rambling at this point. Please take care. Have an enjoyable rest of the day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.